Listen, learn, create your own destiny. Create the life you want. See the future, want the future, have it now. Welcome to the Manifest Change podcast. And here's your host, Brooklyn Storm.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for pushing play on another episode of the Manifest Change podcast. My name is Brooklyn, and today we're going to be talking about why being busy is actually making you go broke in your business. And the reason that this has come up as a topic today is because some people in our group called Prosperous You have been talking a lot about how they're starting to really question their business. I mean, it's not an easy journey being an entrepreneur. It's ups and downs, and we do get caught up in that trap of working, and then look up only to realise that we're not calling in the income that we know we should be. So, some of the effects, I guess, of being super duper busy in your business is that can make you feel really heavy or resistant to showing up at work because you feel drained. You feel like you're giving and not getting a whole heap back in return. It can make you feel really tired and, less present as well when you are with people and when you are trying to serve because your mind is distracted. You're thinking about how you're going to pay the phone bill or the rent bill. You also might experience things like losing enjoyment in the business. And, that's a real shame when that happens because one of the beautiful things about starting a business is the hope. It's the excitement of what could be. You can also feel quite overworked and just experience a real loss of motivation and drive to turn up at the business if it's not turning over the money that you're wanting, despite you doing all of the things. But by doing things a little bit differently, we can actually turn that around. And that's the really positive thing that we want to look at today. So when you turn it around, of course, you're going to enjoy work more and you'll be able to operate within the business most of the time from what's called a flow state. And a flow state is when you're in your zone of genius, when everything is just coming really easily and naturally to you. It's those moments in the day where you're feeling in your zone and you're being very, very productive and you're not making many mistakes. Versus if you're trying to do this same work at a different time in the day, it might take you a lot longer. You might feel heavier around it, more resistant around it, and make more errors. Also, by doing things differently, and this is the hardest part to wrap your head around, but by doing things a little bit differently and by learning how to, step back, you need to understand that the money comes after you slow down. You're not going to generate more money by piling yourself up with more and more work. What will happen is you'll just go to work, you'll exhaust yourself, and then you'll go home. And I know what that's like because that's what I used to do as well. I used to associate hard work with earning money. And so I used to have a belief that I had to, see so many clients in a day and do my admin and return all my emails and phone calls and market the practice and do all of these sorts of things. And I had to literally physically tire myself out before I'd allow myself to go home. And then I'd go home and I'd feel satisfied because I'd think, well, I've done a hard day of work today. But then I'd check the bank account and there wouldn't be much in it. And so that was frustrating. And because I didn't understand what was going on and I didn't have the knowledge then that I do now, I used to look inwards and I used to generate a lot of doubt for myself around and question my capacity to be an entrepreneur and my ability to be a business owner and a business leader and things like that. So anyway, for those of you who are a little bit more spiritually minded, you may have guessed that what we're talking about today is masculine energy. A masculine energy doesn't mean it's gender-based. It doesn't mean if you're a boy, you've got this much energy or this type of energy, and if you're a girl, you've got this type. The concept of masculine and feminine energy is very, very old, and it's found in many sacred texts, as well as psychology books and sociology texts, philosophy and literature. So it's been around this concept for a very long time. But an easier way to try and think about it might be just to imagine, stereotypically even, what you think masculine energy might look like. And usually it's described as being quite energetic, it's quite productive, it's quite physical, and it's really around things like protection. And so, in Jungian analysis too, we look at this in terms of ego and the role that that's having on business, especially entrepreneurship, because there's a difference, isn't there, between being a business owner and being an entrepreneur. If you're a business owner, it's a job. If you're an entrepreneur, it's your life. You're investing everything in it. But then, I've digressed, but then you've got feminine energy. And the thing about feminine energy is that it's quite creative. And I guess to be a sweeping stereotype or generalisation, we say, well, women birth babies, they birth ideas, they birth businesses, they birth societies, they birth cultures, they birth ideas. So this idea of feminine energy is really around some of those more traditional type things. In addition, you would also think of feminine energy as being very nurturing, very accepting, have a lot of empathy, very kind. It's making sure everybody's taken care of and looked after. It's, putting themselves last, all of that sort of stuff too. So what tends to happen though when we're running a business, especially if you're new to business and you haven't been trained in how to run one, you kind of, you're listening to everybody say, oh, just do what you love. But you don't have the skills yet. You don't have the knowledge required to run the business. What happens is you just kind of default to what you've been programmed or conditioned to already think about running a business. And so for a lot of us, I used myself as an example before, I had been conditioned to believe that money comes from exhausting yourself at work. I don't know what you believe, but you'll have your own sets of beliefs there around the relationship between work input and work output, or like what you put in versus what you get back economically or financially. But anyway, certainly having a look at those beliefs is going to be the first key to you unlocking your financial potential. At the moment, it's very difficult because you don't yet fully understand the roles of these different types of energies. And so because of that, what happens is we tend to say, well, I need to work more, or I need to work harder, or I need to be doing more things. And if you're in a coaching business, for example, you might say, well, I need to make more offers, or I need to write more courses, or I need to put more packages together, or I need to put more programs together, I need to write my content. And you're going to be doing all of this stuff, and no one's going to be enrolling. And no one's going to be buying. And part of the reason for that is because when you're not doing it from a place of flow, when you're not doing it from a loving place where you're feeling lit up, where joy's being sparked deep within, what happens is the offers are being written from a space of desperation. The offers are being written from a place of scarcity, of lack, of poverty mindset, things like that. And without you even really being conscious of it, what happens is it's repellent and people pick up on that, and that's why they don't sign up. If you've got a group, for example, it's absolutely fine to be promoting offers and services in there from time to time, but there's a ratio. Most of your content should really be around things that they want to learn from you, things that they want to hear from you. You have to show up consistently. You have to give them value. You have to give them something that they can't go on Google. You have to give them something that they can't get from the group next door. They have to want to be in your group because they're getting information. They're worried that if they miss your video or if they miss your post, they're going to miss out on something that's really important that they need. Yep. And it's really around sales come when relationships come, and all of that sort of stuff is around feminine energy. So the lesson is to try and stop for a second and take a breath, be kind to yourself and have some compassion, but realize that you're spinning your wheels if you just keep showing up and working. It doesn't, you're not going to make money like that. You need to create space in the day where you can tap into that feminine energy, where you can be creative, where you can be loving, where you can be kind, where you can be inspired, and you can share that side of you with everybody that's in your group, on your email list, on your page, wherever your audience might be. And that's when things will start to change for you. So today we've spoken a little bit about why being busy is probably making you broke at the moment and what you can do about it. And it's really around looking at finding a way to harmonize the masculine and the feminine energy in a work day. One of the tips that I can share with you for that would be to look at the time of the day where you feel most productive and use that time to do all the masculine things like, send out your email list, create your workflow in MailChimp, all of that sort of stuff. But then when you're in the afternoon, for example, if that's your more quiet time, that would be the time for you to sit down with your journal and journal out your business ideas. That will be the time for you to sit down and get creative with a nice Facebook post or a Facebook ad or pretty up a beautiful email template. Tap into that, because your clients are going to love that because they're going to pick up on the nice energy from that. So I hope that you've found some value and had a little bit of a light bulb moment with some of this information today. It would be amazing if you could please leave a comment in the comments or leave a review on iTunes. And I just want to express my gratitude for downloading this podcast. Thank you so much. If you want to share it, feel free. The more the merrier. I'll put links in the show notes as well for those of you who are interested in taking this a little bit further. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Have a beautiful day. Bye.